Having seen Najib in many Indian functions recently, do you think PM will be able to win Indian votes this time around?
I think by Najib going to a lot of Indian places, it shows how desperate, because some time ago, I think no other prime ministers have done as much outrage as Najib done, to get votes, you see. So I think it's quite a desperate attempt, and in a very last minute attempt to get votes from the Indian community.
Okay. Having the government spending so much on the Indians and by efforts such as declaring Vaishakhi as a holiday for the Sikh community, do you think the Indian community will fall for his promises this time around?
I think overall the Indian community has been quite enlightened after the Hindraf rally. You see, before the Hindraf rally, the Indian community did not see, they were like taking things for granted, whatever happens, BN will be in power. I think post 2007, and then the change of government in a few states. And now what we hear from a lot of people is that they want to see a change, at least for once, and see how it looks. So that seems to be the mood on the ground.
Okay. And having claims such as there were lesser Indians in the recent opposition rally, do you think the Indian community is switching back to BN?
I don't think so. Because you see, the previous rally, the Persitri, had a lot of Chinese. And this time in the Kebangkitan rally, there was not many Chinese. That does not mean the Chinese have gone back to BN.
Okay.
What was very significant in the Kebangkitan rally was a lot of Malays this time. And that should be frightening Najib, because he's losing the Malay base as well. And I think that the Indian votes, I think I don't see the Indian votes going back to BN as it has been before. There might be a small number, but I don't see that, because we are seeing more and more people we are talking to, and those who even attended Najib's functions, they are saying they are just going there to collect what goodies are given, and they'll be voting the opposition.
Okay. And do you think BN is keeping its promises since Najib took over for Indian community?
I think Najib has spent much more compared to the previous previous prime ministers, and this is also an indication that that because of the fear of opposition coming to power, they're spending more. So a lot of propaganda by the opposition. Why are you getting more today? Because you voted the opposition. So whatever efforts being given, like the BRIM and all that, it seemed to indicate that because they are voted opposition, the government is doing more. So a lot of times, a lot of governments, when they're losing grip when they're losing power, they do two sorts of things. One, they become overly welfareistic. They will do a lot of reforms. We've seen both in Najib's era. He has abolished the ISA, the AKU, amended the AKU, got away with the emergencies, Printing and Presses Act, licensing, ISA, yeah. All this is basically reforms being done, and this is exactly what Hosni Mubarak did in the last few months before his. So I see similarities. Basically, we're going all out, throwing whatever money is left, hoping to win over votes.
With the recent Bawani's issue, do you think Indian voters will turn back to Pakatan now? Will have more confidence in Pakatan?
I think there's been a number of issues which is constantly happening. One is before this, the attack on Ambika, and now this Bawani issue, and also now this Mahathir's issue, Mahathir, the stateless issue.
Yes.
So I think a lot of these things, and the Tamil dailies have even said that they have complained that if they don't write opposition news, the papers are not selling. So compared to before, so now they are most of the editors of Tamil dailies are actually forced to write stories. If not, the papers do not get bought.
Yeah. True. So what is Pakatan's biggest folly in getting Indian votes?
Biggest
folly in getting Indian votes?
I think generally people are not voting for Pakatan. People are voting for change.
True.
And I think that is why the mood is such that people want to they do not know what really Pakatan got to offer. But I think in certain states like Selangor and all that, Pakatan and PN are competing to help the poor. In that sense, the people actually enjoy when there's a like a state government and a federal government which are different. Then both parties will go all out to help the people. That is a good. They say a hung parliament is good for both sides. But the problem is, I don't see that. I don't see Pakatan sort of losing grip on the Indian voters. On the contrary, I see a lot of voters are planning to vote opposition because they want to see what an opposition government can do.
True. Okay.